Today I got a video that's, I think, unlike any video I've done before, and I think it's going to be real interesting. I want to know the results myself, but what we're going to do, some of you may know that on a Bermuda grass lawn, when it's dormant, one of the advantages of Bermuda grass, and there's other varieties out there that they're developing now that you can do this even, I think, when it's not dormant, but you can spray glyphosate on dormant Bermuda. Now, glyphosate is the active ingredient found in Roundup. The concern with that is, are you going to delay the greenup of the grass? What I want to know is, what rate can you spray it, and will it not delay the greenup? So what we're going to do today is we're going to test out 5, maybe 6 different rates. What I want to do is mix 16 ounces per acre of glyphosate in my spray tank, which is a very low rate. And on one pass, I'm gonna just spray it one time, which would be 16 ounces. The next section of it, we're gonna spray it twice, which would be 32, if you're good with math. The next section, we're gonna spray it 3 times, which would be 48 ounces. So you see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have it, and I might go all the way up to like 96 ounces. And I wanna see, is there a delayed greenup with 16 ounces? Is there a delayed greenup with 32 ounces? Is there a delayed greenup with 48 ounces? At what point does it have a significant effect on how fast the Bermuda grass turns green? Now, Bermuda grass is hard to kill with glyphosate anytime. I mean, it's just hard to kill. So I'm not concerned at all about damaging the grass, but I do want to know, if I were to do this on my lawn, am I going to delay the greenup? Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. You can see my 400-gallon split tank in the background I got from Graham Spray Equipment in Douglasville, Georgia. If you need a spray tank to get started in your weed control and fertilization business, or you're looking to upgrade, or maybe you're looking to add a second truck or third truck or more, then go to grahamse.com or give those guys a call. All right, so what I'm going to spray with is the Z spray here, and as you can see here on my level, I've got 8 gallons of mix in here, and what I've got mixed up right now is prodiamine and atrazine in there. So nothing, in my opinion, is going to affect the greenup of the grass at all. But what I want to add to it is the glyphosate. And so this is the product we're using. This is Glystar Plus, glyphosate 41%. It's a generic, Roundup basically. So 41% is a very common percentage that you'll find in a lot of glyphosate products. So what I need to do, and I want to show you this in this video, because some people get questions asked about the math. So I can show you the math of how I'm going to know how much to put in here. Because sometimes people are like, Jason, my yard's 10,000 square feet. How much do I put in the tank of this particular product? Well, a lot of that has to do with your calibration. If you want a more full calibration video, when you get done watching this one, you can just go on YouTube and search Lawn Care Life Calibration, and there's one we did several years ago that'll probably pop up. But I'll take my phone out, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with the amount of water we have in there. Okay, so we know I've already showed you there's 8 gallons already mixed up in the tank. And one of the good things with glyphosate, it already has surfactant mixed in with it typically. So we got 8 gallons. So let me just pull it up on my phone here for you. 8 gallons. What I know about this machine is it's calibrated at 0.34 gallons per 1,000 square feet. So I'm going to divide that 8, the amount of gallons, by 0.34. Okay, and what that tells me is I can cover 23,500 square feet basically. But I want to know how many acres that is, because remember our rate we're going at is 16 ounces per acre. So I'm going to divide that by 43.56, because there's 43,560 square feet in an acre, and that basically tells me that I can cover 0.54 acres. Okay, but 0.54 acres is what I can cover with 8 gallons of water at the rate it is. Now, if I was spraying a different rate, I upped the pressure, I changed the tips out. This is lavender tips on this Z spray going at 5 miles an hour and 40 psi. If any of those factors change, then you're changing the rate. So 0.54, so that's the amount of acreage I can cover with that. Well, what I want to know, our rate we said was I was going to put was 16 ounces per acre. So I'm going to do times 16, and that tells me that I need to put 8.64 ounces in the tank, and that will give me that 16 ounces per acre rate. So let's put 8.64. It's not going to be to the smallest degree, but it's going to be close to that. Matter of fact, since it's such a low amount, I might use my smaller measuring cap, and we'll put that in there. And then again, I'm not going to add 8.64 the next time to bring it up to 32 ounces. I'm just going to spray it twice. So I'll be basically going over the same area twice on the second. You'll see, it all makes sense, and I'm excited about seeing the results. And so I've got really close to 8.64 in here, and I'm going to dump it in here. And then what I want to do is let the tank agitate. It's jet agitation, so it'll be cycling through the water to get it mixed up nice. And then we'll go over there, we'll mark our plots, and we're going to do some spraying. So let's dump it in the tank. You see I'm wearing my PPE. I've got rubber boots, rubber gloves. I'm gonna start the machine up, get it agitating, and we'll pick back the video up over here when it's time to start spraying. Okay, now maybe some of you picked up on this, but it took me a little bit, and if you were been here with me, you could have stopped me, but on video, and I didn't want to edit out because I wanted you to understand my thinking and need to see the mistake I almost made. Thankfully, caught myself, but think about it. I mixed up the glyphosate on the other side. I said it had prodiamine in it and atrazine. Well, if I would have sprayed the yard, you know, that would have been fine spraying it one time, and then the next time I'd have been spraying not only double the glyphosate, which is again what we're testing, how much will a dormant Bermuda line handle, but I would have been doubling the rate of the prodiamine and atrazine all the way up until 6 times, because on 96 ounces of glyphosate, I would have been doing 6 times the rate of atrazine. So unfortunately, I thought, hey, that's not smart, and so what I ended up doing was mixing 8 gallons of water on the other side of the Z spray, which almost nothing in it, and just put 8 gallons of water and just glyphosate. So we got rid of the other variables and not having to, and not spraying, you know, 6 times the rate of prodiamine atrazine. So that was good. I'm glad I did not do that. So what we do, I've got my flags here. You can see I've got 6 flags marked, and there'll be plenty of Bermuda grass that is not going to be sprayed as well. Other thing I want you to know is the circumstances here. Let me show you the Bermuda grass, and you can see here, I mean, that's pretty much dormant. I mean, we've been really cold in January, but today's date near Birmingham, Alabama, and today's date is February the 8th. Now, it's been warm. Today was in the 70s, but we're going back down below freezing probably. So this is kind of, I think, a good date to test it, because if it doesn't delay the green up now, then I feel really confident it wouldn't have back in January. So this is what I want to test, and I'm just curious to see, because I honestly have no idea the results. I feel very confident that the 16 and the 32 probably won't show much of nothing, 32 ounces per acre. But as we get up to 64, you know, and more up to 96, I want to see, does it delay the green up? And I'm not worried about it killing. I think it will definitely survive, but I want to see the delay. All right, let me spray, and we're going to keep an eye on it and see what happens. We're going to start with 16 ounces, so I'll just go 1 pass. The next row will be 32 ounces, which will be 2 passes. The next row, 48 ounces, 3 passes. So you understand. All right, we got it sprayed from 16 up to 96 ounces. We're going to check on it. We're going to give it some time. We had a warm day in February in Alabama. We'll see what happens. And this is not like super thick, lush Bermuda grass. This is some pretty thin stuff in not a great area of the yard with compact dirt. So we'll see what happens. I think this will be part of the yard that's going to green up the fastest, the areas that didn't get sprayed, because it's so thin and going to get plenty of sunlight. So it's February 8th. When I did this, I'm thinking sometime in March we're going to start seeing it. Man, I don't know if we'll wrap up the video in March or April. I don't know. But we're going to check on it periodically and see what happens. We'll check back soon. Well, it's been a few weeks since we sprayed the glyphosate on the dormant Bermuda. I should stop and say this during the video, that glyphosate is labeled for dormant Bermuda, but you need to make sure it's dormant, and we're going to test and see, you know, how it delays the greenup. So if you spray it at a heavier rate and it looks dormant, and I want to show you something here in a minute, but it's not fully dormant, then you could definitely delay the green up. So you just needed to calculate what you're doing before you do it, and don't just say, oh, well, Jason sprayed, you know, 64 ounces and it didn't delay the green up. That was on my particular yard at the time of the year that I did it on my yard, you know, and we'll see. I don't know if it's going to delay the green up or not. So it may be different on yours, because your grass may not be as dormant as you think it is. So let me show you what it looks like where we haven't sprayed, and then we'll go look at what we did spray. So let me show you what my grass is looking like, and it looks basically dormant, and I would call this dormant. But if you get in here and you
ruffle the grass around a little bit. Look at there. Can you believe it? You see that? There's green stuff. So it's not as dormant as it might have appeared. You know, you don't see that. I can do it again. Look at here. Well, it didn't work as good that time. Oh yeah, there we go. There's some green, little green Bermuda grass there. Shooting up, very tender. Now, glyphosate would not cooperate very well with that. So, and we've had a warm week last week, so that probably has a lot to do with it. So anyway, this has not been sprayed. Let's go look at the 6 plots that we did spray. All right, we've got a nice day here, early March at the time I'm filming this segment. Again, we sprayed it back in February, but this grass was super thin. So we're gonna start off on where this first flag was the 16 ounces. And there's some kind of little green plant right there. I don't know where that came from, but look here, 16 ounces, and I don't know if we can see it on here. There is definitely some green right here. So this is definitely showing green on 16 ounces. Let's move up to 32. I hope I'm getting these numbers right. 32. Are we gonna find any green? And this is just early. I want to see what it looks like, you know, when the grass is sure enough green, we'll have obvious results. 32 ounces. I do see some green. Now, yes, I mean, it's a tiny amount. I'm gonna get my magnifying glass out, but trust me that there is a little bit of green on the 32 section as well. So we're still good as far as that goes. On the 48, let's see. And this is one thing that'll frustrate people like me. You got a weed like this called broom sedge that I just hate. And you know, this is the 48 ounce section. And of course it didn't kill it because it probably wasn't, it was probably basically dormant when I sprayed it. So didn't kill the grass, but didn't kill the weed either. Now some of the weeds that were nice and green, it would have killed those. So we're in the 48 ounce section and I do see some green Bermuda. Let's move over. Let's test my math here, 64 ounces. Let's see what we can find. I'm seeing green on 64 ounces as well. Again, tiny amounts on all these, I understand that. But it'll be obvious for us. I'm moving over to the next one. I'm seeing green on it. What are we at? 64 plus 16 is 80. Is that right? Well, I see green, whatever it is. And then on the last one, where I sprayed it 6 times, and I still see green. Right now, we got green on all of it. I feel very confident I didn't kill the grass. Now that doesn't mean it didn't delay the green up. I'm still very curious to see when this all turns green. Let's say give it another month, we should have a lot more green in this yard if the weather is kind of like it normally is. We should be able to have some clear evidences of how well it works. But this probably gonna give us some more time because I don't want to come out here again and show you one little tiny green speck of grass. I want to wait till we got some more obvious things and can see, because this just showed that it didn't die, but it didn't show whether or not we're gonna get a delayed green up or not. We'll check back soon. Well, it's been about 10 days since we last checked on the grass, but it's not just been 10 regular days. Actually, I mean regular days, but we've had warm weather, we've had rain. I don't think we've been below freezing. So we've seen a lot of change, and I want to show you what the grass looks like. Now I will say this, in a couple of days the forecast shows 30 degrees or 31 degrees. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get, you know, a little light frost on the ground in a couple of days. But let's take a look at it now. Remember, we got from 16 ounces up to 96 ounces. And let's see how it's greened up. First, let me just look behind us here, and you can see this is kind of what we're dealing with. You can see clearly some green there. In some areas greener than others. Seems to me where there's sort of a low spot and it holds water, it seems to be green up a little bit faster. And what is a little bit strange about this is it's over here on this side is our 16 ounces, then 32, 48, and so on all the way down to 96.
but it's almost like it gets greener as we go this way. Now, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because down here is the 96. It's really not very noticeable, but what I could trace that to is I think this is probably slightly better dirt. It's real hard and compacted over there. You can see the big rock area. One thing I'm noticing right now is the 96, which I'm over here looking at 96 ounces right now. You can see clearly green Bermuda grass. Then we move over to the next one, which would be 80, plenty of green. Move over to the next one, you got plenty of green. You know, honestly, they look very, very similar as you get over here. Now again, I think the disadvantage on the 16 has plenty of green as well. So I mean, it's almost like it didn't really matter if we did 16 or 96. It seems like that wasn't a big factor at all. I think the main thing is the timing of it. If I would have waited later till it was had a little bit of green in it and then sprayed, I could have severely delayed the green up. Now I'm not quite done because I still want to let the grass like really green up and see is there any delay at all. You know, it may take, I don't know, 2 or 3 more weeks when this grass is basically green, and just see. It should be obvious to us at that point, and it should be obvious if there's any difference between the 16 all the way up to the 96. So we're going to check back on it, but so far even 96 ounces doesn't seem to have phased it hardly at all. I mean, that's what I'm saying right now. So we'll check back and see if it looks any different when the grass is totally green. Well, it's time to put a wrap on the video. I want to show you the final results, and I will tell you this is not what I was expecting, not really what I was even intending for this video. Let's take a look at the Bermuda grass. I'm filming this in early April. We're not at full green up from our Bermuda, but I think we got plenty of green grass to be able to see the final results. So let's take a look. All right, this is what Bermuda's looking like today. Again, not full green, but I mean, it's green. You could tell if it wasn't green. It's just getting going, okay? So let's take a look. You can see the white flags out there in the distance. And I'll be honest, I just see very little difference, and it's almost a little bit confusing, and I think I've got a theory on this. You got really hard, compacted, nasty dirt here. I would say maybe just slightly less green up in this area, you know, compared to that. I do see that. You see what I'm saying in the distance. Can you see it without me pointing? I'll point over this way, doesn't mess up. Slightly less green up in this area than that area. So I think there is just very, very little. But the part of that's a little bit confusing about that is over here is where I sprayed the 96 ounces. And I'm actually thinking that it may be more to do with that just being horrible, horrible soil with that big old nasty bare spot, super compacted. And as you get over here to actually more glyphosate, this looks like, it's almost like it worked in the opposite way. The one I sprayed the most seems like it's greener. This is the 96 right here, the highest rated, highest amount. So that makes me think that, I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but I'm thinking it really had very, very little effect. Now the thing about this is, what I want you to know is, when you spray this, sometimes they recommend spraying a whole section. What I wouldn't do is come in like when the weather's warm and you've had some warm days and try to spot treat a big old patch of poa annua in your yard. Maybe I've already said this, but that would not be good, because if it does delay the green up, it's gonna, you know, that's gonna be noticeable in that area. Where if you spray the whole yard and it's just slightly behind schedule, which maybe this isn't, or I'm not 100% sure, but if it's all slightly behind schedule, it's not really noticeable. So they talk about spraying wall to wall, you know, spray the whole thing where it's not as noticeable. You don't have to do that, but the other thing is, if you're gonna just spot treat a little bit, maybe just be real careful that you don't just go out there and make designs in your yard, because if it was slower to green up, it's gonna be more noticeable. So what did I learn from this? I think I learned that next year I'm probably gonna use glyphosate more in my round 1 applications. I'm talking about early, like January, when it's sure enough dormant. So I think this showed me that it doesn't, I'm thinking personally going to use maybe 48 ounces per acre. And I think by the looks of this, I should be fine. I mean, the 96, which would be double that, is maybe the greenest one out here. And I think, again, I think some of it had to do with the soil. Maybe there was something to the part that was thinner over on the 16 ounces. I don't know. I'd love to hear your theories on why that looks actually less green than the 96 one. But I was spraying 96 ounces not because I want to use 96 ounces on a lawn. I think that's way more than you need. Again, I'm probably gonna go with 48, and I've used 32 ounces in the past, and it'll turn like Dallas grass. It'll turn it yellow. It won't really kill it, and it'll kill all the weeds. So I may even use somewhere between 32 and 48 ounces. I'll have to think about it between now and next year. But I sprayed the 96 because I was basically trying to discolor it a little bit, trying to delay the green up. And the fact that it didn't just says, basically you can spray dormant Bermuda grass with glyphosate at a high rate and way plenty to kill the green weeds without hurting the Bermuda grass. Now, of course, wear your PPE, follow the label, which is dormant Bermuda. Don't try it on other grasses. Even though I've tried to kill centipede in dormant Bermuda sometimes, and it'll just kind of turn it yellow. I mean, timing is everything, okay? So if you go out here and do this in March when it's already green, you're gonna probably seriously damage your grass. So it's all about the timing with this, and just make sure you understand that before you try it at your own house. But personally, I'm gonna probably be trying this more and more next year on the lawns to control weeds like poa annua and field matter and any broadleaf weeds. I think I'm gonna use it more mixed in with a pre-emergent. Thanks for watching. Hope this has been helpful. If you want to get a weed control and fertilization like me, go check out the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. Also got the Bermuda Zoysia Academy. It's a new thing we put together. I'm not 100% done with it, but it is for sale. I got to put the last few videos on there. That's at lawncarelife.com as well. Teach you how to take care of Bermuda and Zoysia lawn. We'll see you guys in the next video.